Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. I appreciate you joining me today. Today, we are going to debunk some of the most common career myths. So we're going to cover them. I'm going to kind of tell you a little bit about my story with each one, and hopefully we can roll through this pretty quick-ish, we do have quite a few here. So without further ado, let's dive in. Myth number 1, if you work hard, you will get promoted. So this is one that actually I can speak to both sides of the equation. It is a huge component of what's going to get you promoted. But it is also about making your work visible. It is about networking throughout your company. It is about connecting with the right people. It's also about continuously keeping your ear to the job market. And it's about continuously growing and showing that off. So it's not just grind, but it's, am I grinding the right thing? Am I grinding in the right place? Am I grinding in the right career path, right? There's a lot more nuance to it. Just because you're working hard doesn't mean you're actually accomplishing anything. And I'm pretty sure we've all seen this or felt this to where we just feel busy and overwhelmed. Like we had an entire day where it was just go. And then you look back on it and you're like, wait, what did I actually do? Right? That is the fundamental flaw in why thinking that just working hard is going to get you promoted, because it's not just about working hard. We've done it to ourselves where we've worked super hard in a day and we look at the day and the day didn't promote us anywhere. So like take it out of the career landscape for a second and you've been there. So understand there's other components to being promoted other than just simply working hard. Loyalty, myth number 2, loyalty to one company pays off. No, it doesn't. I myself have been on both sides of this table. So early in my career, I switched jobs every single year. And I didn't necessarily do it just because it was, we're at 12 months, let's go. But typically what would happen is I was ready for a promotion or I was ready to go to the next level. I'd work with my leadership first. Hey, what are the opportunities? What do we think a timeline is? What maybe education or skill development can we collaborate on here? These sorts of things. And if it just wasn't a good fit or was going to take too long, or you got the whole age-old, we'll take care of you, just keep going, right? Like, no, ignore that BS. So I would then keep that job, but then I'd go shop in the job market. Hey, what's available? Does the market agree with me or does it agree with my company? And every single time it would agree with me. So why am I going to deny my progression, deny the salary, deny the comp, deny the opportunity, the skill development, the different industry, learning, all these different things. So take advantage of that, especially early in your career where it's not necessarily going to harm you. Really, you start to need tenure when you get to more senior positions, whether those are going to be that senior hands-on position that maybe comes 5-7 years in, or once you're in a leadership realm. Like you don't make big leadership gains without time and tenure as well. So understand early, especially early career, but in the long run, loyalty to one company does not pay off. All right. Myth number 3. You need to wait for a promotion to take on leadership responsibilities. This is actually going to circle back to if you work hard, you'll get promoted. By exhibiting leadership from the get-go. And these can even be super small things. Taking initiative, taking ownership. When something goes wrong, taking responsibility. You get a new employee. Hey, I feel really comfortable with this part of the job. Do you mind if I train them on that? And that way you have other time to do this other stuff. And then you can pick up training when I'm done, right? It doesn't take a lot to exhibit leadership responsibilities or leadership traits. But by doing that as soon as you can and as soon as you feel comfortable doing so, that is what will take you to the next level, get you recognized, increase your visibility, right? And you start to also gain allies, right, in the company, right? Because you have the new person that you maybe just trained and mentored, and they now are going to come to you for these questions. Boom, relationship built. You took something off of your boss's plate or off of the supervisor's plate or whatever, whoever else would have been doing that training. So now, boom, you just made their life easier. Relationship made, right? So like by these simple, small acts, you are taking control and showing that you are ready and wanting and desiring that next level. And you don't have to do this with that, okay, so I'm going to take on these leadership responsibilities. It's going to tack on an additional 10 hours of my life. So now I'm at 50, 60 hours a week. No, do it smart. Either work it in organically to where you're not having this huge overburden or overload, or you can get so efficient at your job that you have the opening for this. And the latter was always my strategy, that when it came to the IT realm, I could pump out tickets, pump out resolutions, pump out ideas so much faster than usually anyone else on my team. And so much so that I actually had one manager come to me. It was actually me and another guy. We worked in pairs of twos from a shift perspective, and we were the least experienced, lowest qualified, but the highest performing pair on our team out of 6 different pairs. And our leadership came to us and said, how are you guys doing this? You're the least qualified and the least experienced. This doesn't make sense. And we laid out our system, and they were like, oh, wow, like we should turn this into an SOP. This is great stuff. SOP is standard operating procedure, right? So then we actually trained the rest of the department. Hey, here's how we're operating. And then everybody else was uplifted, right? So you really don't have to have the promotion. You don't have to be super experienced. You just need to be effective to take on those leadership responsibilities. And so that was where I got leadership buy-in. They started coming to me and my counterpart consistently for ideas and thoughts and management style. And it literally cost us nothing from our job. No more hours, no loss of energy or anything like that. It was just a win. All right, myth number 4, networking is just for job seekers. Absolutely not. It is also for job climbers. It is also for people who maybe aren't sure what they want to do in their career. So maybe this is early career, or if you're at that transition phase where you're just like, I'm done with where I've put the last 10 years of my life. I need something new. Networking is critical in all of these components. Yes, it's useful for job seeking because of the obvious, right? Your network might have opportunities that you're not aware of, or could build upon your relationship to get you in front of the hiring manager, so on and so forth. But as we mentioned earlier, it's not just about your hard work that gets you promotions. Networking also is what gets you the promotions, because you can network both inside your company and outside your company. You can do both. And you can do this through joining communities, or when it comes to inside your company, attending the company all hands, attending company events, speaking up in various different opportunities or project initiatives. But networking is absolutely crucial. So my strategy was always, I consider the first 90 days at a job the most critical. So I had 2 missions in my first 90 days everywhere I went. Find the smartest person in the room, make their life easier. That was number 1. Number 2 was pump out so much work and so much quality work that my input or output was never questioned again. And both of those have been probably the 2 pillar successful formulas. And the reason that I seek those out say those in regards to the networking is mostly the first one. Finding that smartest person in the room, I'm really meaning by the room in this instance, your department. It might be your manager. It might not be. It could be a colleague. It could be a senior hands-on person, whatever it might be. Figure out why they're the smartest person in the room, why they're the best at the job, why they're the MVP of the department. Figure out why, and then figure out how to make their life easier. Take off stuff that they don't want to do anymore, or take off things that, or just maybe make their own process of what they're doing look even better. Hey, I noticed that you print out that, you're doing these reports and that you do this every week. Have you thought about doing it this way? I actually already built out the model for you. I think it might save you some time. So it doesn't even necessarily have to be this taking on work directly, but it could just be noticing what they're doing and making it better. But that is a great way to network, is make someone else's life better. Just be altruistic and say, I am giving myself to you in this capacity to make your life better, faster, stronger. But here's also what I ask in return, right? Which is some coaching and some mentoring. And that's how you build that network from the ground up. All right. Myth number 5, the only path up the ladder is through management. So this is one that I vehemently disagree with, but also it's partially true. I'm still classifying it as a myth because people feel like they ultimately have to go into management, and you don't. You can just become the expert within your technical, hands-on type of realm. And if you do reach that ceiling, let's say that you just don't have anywhere else to go in your particular thing, look at transitioning it to much more of an advisor or consultant path. Look at maybe turning it into a side hustle, right? If you think about every single side hustle out there, or most of them, I guess not every single one, most side hustles, they are actually just outsourcing or specializing in a particular component of a company function, right? So I'm going to be an accountant, or I am going to be a IT guy for hire, or I am going to be this, right? Like it's taking the niche that you know, building a business on that, and then now you are the go-to person for multiple companies instead of just being a salaried employee. So these are the other ways that you can advance. And so I really am pointing this one out to also not say avoid leadership, because if you want leadership, go for it. But not everybody does, and not everybody's cut out for it. So there are other ways to move vertically and improve your career, and that could be maybe shifting to consulting, shifting to advisor, starting your own business. A lot of different opportunities there for you. So just understand that just because you reach the top title doesn't mean you're actually at the ceiling. All right. Then we got myth number 6. Your work speaks for itself. This was actually part of a previous video that I did about promotions and how to get them. You need to self-promote. You need to market everything that you are doing. Plain and simple, end of story. A couple different ways that I like to do this. Keep a ledger of your small wins, your big wins, your projects, and all of that. And then also, if you have your one-on-ones on a weekly or monthly cadence with your manager, maybe send some of those wins over to him that are noteworthy, each one of those one-on-ones or every couple one-on-ones, and saying, hey, did you notice that I did this? Or what do you think about this? Hey, here's my accomplishments, whatever it might be. You could just save them for your review as well. But I like to do it a little bit more staggered and spread out. So that way it's just constantly in your manager or leader's mind that you're a winner, right? Like that's the thing, is you want to keep the association of you to winner consistently in people's minds. So document them, share them, but don't be like overly braggadocious about it. So for me, what I've come to, you've heard me talk about it before, but I use an application called TickTick to keep track of virtually everything I do. So that is actually my reference for what I've done, is I can go back and look at the things I've recently completed within given lists. And then that will then show me, hey, here's the wins that I got. Here's why, I'm the bee's knees, and I can now advocate for myself like I said, in the one-on-ones, in reviews, or in meetings and that sort of thing. All right. We are on myth number 7. A degree guarantees success. This could not be further from the truth. End of story. I actually just did a video about this where one of the components was your degree effectively doesn't matter. Most people do not get a career in line with what their degree was in. I always like to give the example of myself in the IT industry. It is unequivocal that the 2 most common degrees I've seen in IT are history and finance. That's just how it is. Not saying that is definitely the de facto case, but that is my experience. And I have heard more people in my career, people in this case being managers, leaders, directors, etc., be disappointed with the people who hold a degree versus the people who do not. So don't feel like your degree counts for anything, because your degree was actually just to get your foot in the door. And if you are remotely good at your job, it'll be obsolete in 2 to 4 years, meaning it'll be replaced by the experience you have, and that piece of paper itself doesn't matter at all. All right, myth number 8. Climbing the ladder is the best way to succeed. So this is very, very similar to the only path up is through management. But I like to call this out because, as someone who I kind of exhibit all of these, all the different options, which is good because I've gotten to learn a lot and figure out where I want to narrow my focus. In that I did climb the ladder from a hands-on perspective. I got to the top of hands-on before leadership in IT. I also did some consulting. I also started my own business. I also did that IT for hire type of scenario, doing side hustle, freelancing, consulting, etc. Then I also was like, okay, maybe I actually want to go leadership. I entertained leadership, did that for the first time. Also bought another side hustle business. And so I continued to kind of experiment and play, even though, I'm 15 years into my career. I continue to play with what is the best way for me to succeed. And I think that you still need to always have that childlike curiosity. And so having that from the beginning of going, what is the best path for me? Is it going all the way to executive level, C-level? Great. If it's not, okay, then maybe do you become a consultant? Do you start a side hustle? Do you go freelance? Do you work for more of an agency, right? And kind of become a gun for hire, right? It's not just about the vertical climb. There are multitude of ways that you can succeed without that. And it's just trying the experimentation, giving things a shot, being open-minded, and looking at the options in front of you and genuinely acting. All right. Myth number 9. Your resume will get you the job. So this is one that is a catch-22 because it is absolutely a prerequisite, whether you like it or not. I get it. Your experience, your achievements, the way you interview, all that stuff should be what gets you the job. And by and large, it is. But you will never have the opportunity if you don't get the resume. So this is the distinction that I wanted to make, is your resume is ultra important because it's the door opener. Unless you're doing a networking or referral type of hire, but if you're doing applications, which most people are, your resume is what opens the door, but it is not what will get you the job. It will be the interview. That is what will actually get you the job. It is one of the reasons why I have seen such an uptick in interview coaching from my business in the last 18 months comparison to before. Is that is truly where the value add is that people will go on interview after interview after interview after interview and just not get any jobs or any roles. And if you're on LinkedIn, I'm pretty sure you've seen it. People saying, oh my God, I've had 30 interviews in the last 6 months and none of them turned into an offer. That's on you, champ. And so it's not to this myth here of the resume is what will get you the job is not to diminish the value of the resume, because without it, you will never have the opportunity to actually get the job. So you have to understand it is ultra, ultra important, but it will never, ever, ever be the deciding factor. The deciding factor will always be the interview. It'll be the referral or it'll be your network. Those are the deciding factors, with really the interview being the commonality, because most companies, even if you were referred or even if you get it through networking, are still going to want to interview you. So interviewing is really what will land you the job above anything else. So if you are going to put time, effort, energy, money, etc. into how to get a job, do it in the interview stage. Okay. On to the next one. I believe we're on myth 10. Asking for a raise is risky. It's not. It's really not. It depends on how you ask it. If you're just like, hey, I want more money, right? That's going to be a risky maneuver. But if you have a number in mind, whether you think you are ready for it or not, right? The way you approach it is going to be key. And so I would approach it from a perspective of something like, hey, I am currently earning $50,000 a year. I think with the skill developments in this, and this, and the achievements that I've done in this, and this, that I really think it makes sense to get me to like 56, 57 this year. Does that seem reasonable? Do you agree? Do you disagree? And if you disagree, then why? Let's talk. Like, I'd love to figure out how to get me there as soon as we can. I don't want to put the company in a bad spot. I love what I do and I love the company and I'm genuinely committed, but this is what I'm seeing based on market research and based on the achievements and impact I've made. And I just want to talk about it, right? And then this sets you up to that you're not just asking for the raise, but you're saying, hey, I think I deserve it, but I'm open to being told I'm not, because I might not be. And on top of that, if I'm not, then how do we get me to there, right? So you're just really making this a giant conversation about growth and humility, and that's the way to ask for the raise. Have your research, have your information backed up, have your skills and your achievements, like have your literal packet of information that showcases why you deserve it. But leave the open-ended opportunity for them to say, hey, you're not, and here's why, but here's what we do to get there, right? That is the key thing. And if you've ever run the numbers, just do this very, very simple. So I always like to give the extreme, but the extreme easy option, okay? So most people don't even try to negotiate either. I believe it's over 2/3 of people do not negotiate their salary. But go to an investment calculator and type in $0 is your initial investment. You have $5,000 that you are investing every single year, and it is an annual investment. And then do a 3% return. That number is the amount of money that you are leaving on the table across your career. Oh, sorry. And then make it about 40 years long. That's the amount of money you're leaving on the table over the course of your career for not doing a single $5,000 negotiation raise. That's what that is. And how that's working out is you have your $5,000 you negotiated. If you're getting it every single year, right? Because even if you negotiate once, you still earn that $5,000 for the rest of your career. But you should also be getting relatively 3% raises every single year as well, barring any company health issues or something like that. So that's why that's your interest rate. And then your career, 40 years, you start at 18, takes you to 58. You start at 22 because you got a degree. That puts you to 62, right? It's about the time of retirement. You'll be shocked. Please go do this exercise. You will be shocked the amount of money you are leaving on the table. Now imagine every single job you get across maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 jobs, you negotiate an additional $5,000. Once you get higher up in the ladder, you might be negotiating $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in a particular position. Okay? Just look at the amount of money. All right. Lesson number 11. All experience is good experience. This is one that is very, very tough to decipher. You will make mistakes by trying to debunk this myth, and that's actually okay. That's kind of the point and proves this statement even better. So I'm always a big advocate of, especially early in your career, doing some experimentation, taking the risk of, oh, this might be beneficial, it might not be, or this project might be very useful, or, oh, this company is offering me this thing, should I take it? And do a genuine analysis. But you might come to realize, oh, that really wasn't good for my career, or I hated doing this. This was atrocious, right? Whatever it is, but whenever you have that negative reaction or you have that realization that it wasn't a good thing, make sure you ask the questions as to why. How do I avoid this? What did I miss? How did I let this happen? Right? And this is what's going to allow you to prevent it in the future so that you do continuously have good experience every time that you are taking the opportunity or the experience. All right. Following your passion leads to career success. This is an inverted issue. You build your passion, you don't find it. So that means you don't follow it. You build it, right? Like you can't follow something you build. Like that's just not how that works. So you don't follow your passion, you create it. You create it through commitment, consistency, which then also leads to career success, market demand, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The passion comes after the fact. And if you really think about this from a psychological standpoint, it is highly unlikely / virtually impossible to just stumble upon the thing that you love and know it from the second you do it, right? How many times have you done things that were awesome and were incredible, and then you do it for a couple months and it's terrible, or a year and it's just not worth it, or it's not exciting, whatever it might be, right? It's just not there, right? But when you do something that you're like, oh, okay, maybe, and then you start to get good at it, and then you get the positive feedback loop because you get return. People are like, oh, that's freaking sweet, or oh, I'm going to ask your advice now, or oh, right? You start to get this feedback loop, which then almost psychologically tricks you into going, oh, I like this, right? This is sweet. This is awesome, right? And then that's what builds your passion, is that you continuously do the thing and consistently grow in the thing to provide more value, to offer better advice, to help more people, to just continue that vicious circle of what is success between consistency and commitment, and that ultimately develops into your passion. All right, we're getting there. Next up, the higher you climb, the easier it gets. I don't know. I think this came to be because of a misperception from front lines to leadership. But, you know, it's just like, oh, what do? They just run reports and give orders and this and that. And it's like, no. Like, that's not what leaders and managers are doing. At the very least, it's not what they should be doing. And what people fail to realize is their scope of responsibility. As an individual contributor, you are called that because that's your scope of responsibility. Yourself, the individual, that's it. But if you have a department of 7, then your decisions and your actions are affecting 7 people's employment. Could also be affecting cross-department. Maybe your department is a prerequisite or a huge dependability for another department. So now you're affecting 15, 20 people. You continue to go up. Now you might have a group of managers that are working for you. that you are responsible for, and so on and so forth, right? I actually like to use the extreme example now of the new Starbucks CEO, where people are all up in arms because he got a $96 million compensation package. He's responsible for over 400,000 employees. When you run the math on the amount of employees, if you take his compensation package, which by the way is not his salary, but his comp, divided by the amount of employees, he makes like $260 per person. Imagine that was your salary. You're responsible for yourself as an individual contributor. Here's $260. You're a manager of 7 people. Hey, here's $1,600. Right? Like imagine that was your ratio. The each person that you are responsible for, you made $260. That's it. That's pennies as far as I'm concerned. Right? So it just does not get easier. It is a huge misconception as you climb both seniority from an individual contributor and into leadership. It just continually gets harder. You'll eventually feel like you've made it. If you are someone who's driven, you'll never feel like you made it. You'll never feel like you arrived. I think all of us have kind of had this realization, especially early adulthood, where we go, oh, our parents were just older dummies of us, right? Like they have more age, but what does that really mean? And some of the things they do are great, some are not, right? But it's just this interesting conundrum to where whenever you go to be a parent, you think, I'm going to be such a good parent. I'm going to be so prepared. I'm going to be so ready. And then you become a parent and you're like, this is nerve-wracking as hell. I have another life in my hands, right? It's the same thing in your career. Is there's never going to be this plateau where you're just like, I deserve to be here. I am the bee's knees. I've made it. This is exactly what I was shooting for all along from the beginning. Not going to happen. You need to just understand that you will constantly struggle. You will constantly fight imposter syndrome. You will constantly realize that it is never enough. And that's okay. If you are not the most driven or ambitious person, this might not be a myth for you. You might feel that. But a lot of people out there simply need to know and have permission that it's okay to be ambitious, to be driven, to go after it, and to know that you'll never feel like you made it. All right, and we will end on this last one. Work hard now, enjoy life later. I'm calling this one out because it's a very interesting myth. It depends on your approach. So if you think that I'm just going to do nothing but grind and work for 30 years and then I'll live my life, that's a recipe for failure. And that's where I think the literal concept or translation of this is, oh, I'll be able to live my life in retirement. It's fine. No, that's not what you want. You do want to work hard now. You do want to push your limits. You do want to figure out the maximum effort, energy, time, etc. that you could put into your work because you will have more life to enjoy, right? So if you sacrificed, let's say 20 years from 18 to 38 to kill the game and be in a position of potential retirement at that age, or even at 45, right? So you're talking 27 years. Okay. That means you have roughly 30 years left of actual pure life. Okay. But what you want to do along the way is be building the foundations and the components of that life to enjoy all along the way. So you might not be this true, like, okay, you know what? I worked my 40 hours. I'm out. I'm now going to go enjoy my life. The issue with that is you're going to end up working 20 plus years longer than people who aren't, right? And then you still might not even be able to retire. So you do want to work hard now in order to solidify and guarantee that retirement, and if anything, bump up that retirement. But what you want to do is along the way. Do you want to be married? Do you want children? Do you want to travel the world? Do you want to try to set a Guinness World Record? Like whatever it might be, like it doesn't matter, but you want to lay the foundational components of what will make that life possible. Because then as that teeter-totter starts to go from, hey, I don't need to work as much because I have my retirement, I have things set up, and then the life begins to gain on the teeter-totter, then you can just run and enjoy. You don't have to go, well, what do I want from my life? And what do I want to spend my money on? And oh my God, I'm now 50 years old and I don't have a partner, or I can't have kids now, right? Like it just, whatever the components are, make sure you're laying those foundations along the way so that when you do finally get that opportunity to enjoy life later, you actually can. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can recap these myths. All right. Myth number 1, if you work hard, you'll get promoted. Myth number 2, loyalty to one company pays off. Myth number 3, you need to wait for promotions to take on leadership. Myth number 4, networking is just for job seekers. Myth number 5, the only path up is through management. Myth number 6, your work speaks for itself. Myth number 7, a degree guarantees success. Myth number 8, climbing the ladder is the best way to succeed. Myth number 9, your resume will get you the job. Myth number 10, asking for a raise is risky. Myth 11, all experience is good experience. Myth 12, following your passion leads to career success. Myth number 13, the higher you climb, the easier it gets. Myth 14, work hard now, enjoy life later. Those are going to be all of our myths. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have any myths to add, if you have any things you've discovered, leave it in the comments below. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. I will respond to every single comment every single time. If you like this video, want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe to channel button, hit the notification bell, hit the like button on the video. It's greatly appreciated. We are also live on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and X. Check us out there. X is going to be the most deviated platform from YouTube if you want a little more additional content. And until next time, I appreciate you.